John McCluskey has been the president and CEO of Alamos Gold since 2003. He began his career with Alamos Gold Limited. Then in 1996, he founded Grade Resources, where he was CEO until 2003, and he co-founded Alamos with Mining Hall of Famer Chester Miller. Now, Mr. McCluskey was named Ontario's 2012 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, based on a judging panel's assessment of financial performance, vision, leadership, innovation, personal integrity, social responsibility, and entrepreneurial spirit. So, checking all the boxes there. Today, Alamos is an established intermediate gold producer with 3 operating mines in North America and a portfolio of development in Mexico, Canada, Turkey, and the US. So, good morning, John. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Great to see you. Great to see you. So there's a bit of the background, and now I kind of want to pivot into the future, because what we want to start off talking about is how you're leading innovation at Alamos. So maybe you can take us through what's happening in exploration innovation, development, processing. I'll let you go.
With exploration, the developments are quite extraordinary over the last 15 years or so. But I would say with respect to how it's directly affecting Alamos business, probably surface directional drilling has been one of the great breakthroughs that has really allowed us to rapidly expand reserves and resources at Island Gold. And the breakthroughs in geophysics have really helped us on the regional side of exploration. The geologists, if you talk to them, they'll tell you that the way they can tease out the anomalies today from the data, it's about 20 times more effective. In other words, the anomalies are 20 times better resolution than they were with the sophisticated geophysics of just a generation ago. And that to me it's extraordinary. You still have a lot of sleuthing to do, and it's just one tool in the box, but it's a much more effective tool than it used to be. And it's led to several discoveries for us, some down in the Mulatos district, and 2 discoveries that we've made in the Lynn Lake district. So it's helping. On the grassroots side, it's really helping. But in terms of the near mine exploration that we're doing at both Young-Davidson and at Island Gold, we've really benefited from surface directional drilling. It allows you to get a lot more data in a much more cost-effective manner. So that would be what I would say about exploration. In terms of the main thing we wanted to focus on today was the changes that we made to the Young-Davidson mine when we acquired it in 2015. The reality was the mine was only partially completed when we acquired it in 2015. It was doing roughly 3,800 tons a day from what was really designed as temporary infrastructure at the mid-level of the mine. So what it was going to require in order to turn it into a really profitable operation, and one that was set up for the long term, it was going to require a complete development of the lower mine. And there was a number of ways we could have approached that. The simplest way would have been just to continue to ramp down and do it all from ramps. It would have been a fairly expensive way to go. And ultimately, I don't think we would have anywhere near as profitable an operation. What we did was go with a fully automated system. We sunk both the Northgate shaft and the MCM shaft right down to the 1,500 meter level. And then we designed a system, a fully automated system that would effectively allow us to mine at a rate of about 8,000 tons a day. And in making that, it was a very substantial capital investment. But in making it, not only did we set up that operation to be very profitable for the long run, but we dramatically reduced the carbon footprint of the operation. And really, that was one of the key elements of it. It makes it a safer environment in which to work. We were able to take out about 6 trucks by going to a conveyor system. We actually have a video that you might show. The whole system is automated. It's run from surface. You saw that gentleman sitting at a computer system that effectively runs this. Ore is fed from it's basically taken out of the stope, fed into the circuit through ore chutes that feed directly into crushers that feed onto that 5-foot wide conveyor system, takes it to the ore storage bins, then into a fully automated loading pocket where it's skipped to surface. From surface, it's again fed from the bins into conveyors that take it right into the mill. So after the miner basically takes the ore out of the stope and puts it into the ore pass, that's it. There's no further handling of the ore. And from that point on, we're either using gravity or we're using power that's all generated from the Ontario power grid. And that's why our requirement for ventilation underground is drastically reduced, because we don't have all those diesel trucks running underground. And that's why the system is so efficient, both from an operating perspective and from a carbon intensity perspective. You're muted. Sorry.
Sorry, there must be some cost savings there and some emission targets hit at the same time, sort of bang, bang.
In that, and indeed, that's what happened. We saw costs come from roughly $1,300 all in sustaining costs. They're down below $1,000 all in sustaining costs now. So that was a substantial savings from a per ton perspective. We went from roughly $55 per ton down to $43 per ton, which is where we are now. And of course, we're still working at it.
Great. Do you want to fill in some other automation things that you've done there, or? Well,
in it, that's already quite. That's the whole flow sheet. If you look at it from the face to the mill, the entire flow sheet is automated. I guess I could say, in some respects, it even resembles a circuit, because much of the ore that's processed in the mill is essentially put into the paste backfill system. So we have a paste backfill plant. We had cement. We pump the material back into the mine, and we fill up the stopes again. So it resembles a circuit in some respects. We do have a tailings facility, and there still is some requirement for tailings, but drastically reduced as a result of the paste backfill. Again, that means less haulage and so forth. It's also a much more efficient way to go as far as carbon intensity.
Right, and these innovations are easily transferable to other operations. Other companies might want to consider some of these innovations.
I'm sure they are. I mean, all underground mines are facing similar challenges, and we're all effectively trying to address them in different ways. There's a lot of talk in the industry about using electronic vehicles underground, and there's issues with that, because if you were to try to run haulage trucks, big haul trucks, 40-ton haul trucks that we use on an electric basis, it inevitably it's a challenge. And right now it doesn't work. The batteries can't really handle the job. We have started using electric vehicles for personnel transport. We took that step earlier this year, and it's so far it's looking promising. Again, it's not a huge contributor to the carbon footprint. These are smaller vehicles and so forth, but it's a start.
And I
what I
guess
think,
there's some innovations coming in the industry in general for the larger vehicles that will eventually be adaptable, eventually be useful in these situations.
I think so. But for the time being, we addressed the whole issue by using a conveyor system that's, it'll run off the power grid, and eliminated the trucks that way. We eliminated the trucks altogether. So I think that's something that others in the industry are going to look at. In fact, just as a point to back up what you're saying there, when we completed the shaft sinking, we were in the process of completing the shaft sinking. The mining team from Island Gold, which we now own, but at that point they were, at that point we didn't. They came up and visited the mine, and they saw what we were doing, and they wanted to do something very similar at Island Gold. Of course, the problem was there's a lot of capital involved in doing this, and the first step is, in order to justify all that expense, is you've got to build out a big enough reserve, which they hadn't done at Island Gold. We liked what they had, and we saw a lot of promise there. And ultimately, we acquired Richmont Mines. But step one, in order to justify doing something similar to what we did at Young-Davidson, it was to go in and drill the deposit and drill it quite aggressively. We've invested over 20 million a year since we acquired it in 2017 in order to build out the reserves. But once we'd done that, we started down the same road with what we call our phase 3. And effectively what we're doing is just what we've done at Young-Davidson. We're deepening, we're putting in a shaft. We're putting it down to about 1,400 meters to begin with. And effectively we're going to be in a similar situation where we're going to eliminate, right now it's a ramp operation, so we're going to eliminate all the haul trucks, and we're going to be operating from a similar sort of automated system.